Let's turn to our statewide offices and
Meg
Senator.
Whitman.
Let's start with Senator
No, let's start with Meg Whitman.
Meg Whitman.
Yeah.
Start with Meg Whitman. Will.
Whitman and Brown, because
Okay.
in January, before any of the primaries had shook out, they did Brown versus Poizner versus Whitman, or Newsom versus Poizner, and when they had Brown versus Whitman, it was 50-50. It was pretty much even. Now, she spent $85 million in the primary. She's already spent $34 million in the general, and she promises to spend another $35. And they did a recent poll, and they're dead even again. Now,
Right.
she spent $120 million
Over
to
that
get
now.
nowhere, and he's finally coming out with money. Don't you think he has a chance?
This was in your
Well, I think
column
he
on
wins.
Sunday, wasn't
I
it,
think
sir?
Jerry Brown wins, and I
Really?
think for the reason that you stated. If you can't move the body politic on your behalf
With $120
million, yeah, then there's something terribly wrong with you. I mean, you're talking about rejection. If I walked in this bar and spent $120 million and couldn't walk out of here with something,
Sainthood! We get the Nazi Pope.
I want my money
But she
back.
was virtually unknown. I mean, coming into this, not by voters. So I mean, she had to probably spend that money. At least that's her argument.
Just for running eBay, but what does
Yeah.
that mean?
Right.
Arnold
But she
Schwarzenegger
had to
was a
spend that
successful
money
businessman
to be
and a
considered.
successful actor. And no offense to your friend, the governor, Mr. Mayor, but he, has had a tough time governing the state. And I think that part of the
Not
tough
an
time.
entry-level position.
It's not an entry-level position, and also I think part of the problem is, and I had this conversation with Tom Amiano on Comedy Day last Sunday. Part of the problem is term limits. Now that Tom is on that side of things in the state, government, he sees, oh my God, I've got X amount of time, then I've got to figure out what I'm doing.
I'll tell you what, though, that this campaign, with all the money that Meg has put out there, has generated some very interesting commercials. The commercials she's been doing on Jerry Brown are priceless, with Clinton in particular.
Yeah.
Absolutely priceless. And it showed through Jerry Brown off his game, he proceeded to attack Clinton.
Which was a big mistake. Biting the hand that could potentially feed you.
That's
Not a
what
good
I'm telling
idea.
you. That's an effective commercial.
My favorite ad that Meg Whitman has been ran, and she only ran for a couple of months before the primary, and then it didn't appear for 2 months before the primary. So it was like maybe February, March, and it was when I and my husband first moved to California. It was the halcyon days of 1981, and I want to get California back. And then I think someone on her staff pointed out, 1981, Jerry Brown
was
governor.
Hello. We're here with Willie Brown and
Haven't
Will
seen that
Durst.
ad.
It's the Will and Willie pre-election special on Green 960, and I'm producer Paul Wells, and our guest has been in this segment, Public Defender Jeff Adachi. Barbara Boxer, our senator, is really in a neck-and-neck race against Carla Fiona, who used to run HP, who's saying she's proud of what she did at HP, and then
That's a good commercial.
Senator Boxer.
Great commercial.
Senator Boxer
That is
is
a great commercial.
running commercials
I'll tell you
about
what was even
how
better,
the
though.
job's gone away.
It was even better, and I don't think it was even planned. At the debate, when the conversation went forward, Boxer turns to Fiorina and said, "You got rid of 30,000 jobs by sending them overseas. And then you got fired. And you got $20 million when you were fired. The voters get fired, they get 2 weeks." That is such a good...
Do you think that was a canned response, or do you think it just right on?
No.
Right on the money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
being Barbara.
Yeah.
Barbara
Yeah.
is Barbara.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
nothing about her. That little root woman that sits on her shoulder that protects her from all evil. It's unbelievable.
She has a good guardian angel.
She's
my
had a
God.
charmed political life, Senator Boxer.
So I wonder if we're going to find out that Fiorina went to a porno bookstore a week before the election.
No, I think the commercial that's out there that you talked about,
Yeah.
the
Right.
one in which I think Fiorina doesn't have an answer to that commercial. And I think that the second generation of that commercial is just going to be an expansion. If you got to walk around and every unemployed person says, one of those 30,000 was mine.
30 million.
No, 30,000.
About
30,000 jobs.
30,000 jobs.
But how much
one
did
of
she
those
walk away
30,000
with?
jobs was mine. 20 million.
20
she
million,
walked away
right.
with.
All in California?
Yeah.
Yeah, all in California.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you
All
could
of
walk
them
away
was-
with $5 and 15
She
million
shipped
be
them all out
left
of
to pay
California.
how
All
many
out of
salaries of an
California.
average job?
Yeah.
She was fired by HPA. She was fired by McCain. Remember, she went on, I forget what show it was. I think it might have been Fox News. And she said McCain couldn't be the CEO of a major corporation.
Yeah.
She said that about her boss in the middle of a campaign.
And got herself bounced again. So she's famous for being fired.
And and I don't understand why Brown hasn't hit Meg Whitman. Now, maybe he did some polling and voters don't care, but she didn't vote in 26 consecutive elections in order so she could make enough money to buy the 28th election. And I don't understand why they don't just...
I think you will see that as the weeks unfold. We're still 6 weeks out. And you
Who had the
kinda-
worst record? Was it Whitman or was it?
Whitman.
Voting
Whitman. No,
record.
Fiorina, I don't think was in California that long.
No,
Well, I'm telling you, you're going to see more of the negative description of the opponents on each side. And believe me, not voting is a serious offense. It is a serious
There's a third guy,
offense.
Dunn, and he's the Republican who's never held elective office before, another software billionaire, and he's running for office, and he too did not vote in many consecutive
He's a
elections.
friend of mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he played wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys.
Did he really?
Yes.
During who?
Oh,
Starbuck?
No. Post.
Eggman?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
In that world. And he has.
So you gonna win?
No.
No.
He can't beat Deborah Horn.
We're getting close to the end of our time here, gentlemen.
Okay. Okay.
He came
Any
to see me.
propositions, statewide
Riddle
propositions?
me this, Joker.
Yes.
Riddle me this, Batman. Who wins? Abel Maldonado or Gavin Newsom?
Gavin Newsom.
You really think he'll pull it up?
I-
I thought Abel looked so good
In that
San
flight
Bruno,
jacket in San
He
Bruno.
did. He was really impressive.
Good
and
photo
what
op.
have you.
flying his own plane. Who knew?
But I
people
wanna
were
tell
looking
you,
at the fire though. I don't think they were looking at him.
That's true.
You know.
And I kept seeing those helicopters shooting at, dude, you're fanning the flames. Get out of there.
No, I don't think. Abel.
So you think
is a
Gavin
good
wins?
candidate. Yeah, I think Gavin wins. I think.
You
Gavin
think it's a
wins.
clean sweep by the Democrats on a statewide basis?
It could
Barbara,
very well-
Jerry?
It could very well be, but it will depend upon whether or not the Democrats will be smart enough to make sure Kamala Harris's campaign is well funded. She's the only one on the ticket that can attract the Democratic core vote. Everybody else has some liabilities.
Tells you we're
associated
actually
anyway.
live here at the
Democratic
Buena
vote.
Vista Cafe. The glass just broke.
Well, that's part of
And
what
Do you think she wins?
I think she can win. She's got to get the money, though. She really has to get the money. She is the woman on the ticket. She's the racial minority on the ticket. And she is the real Democrat on that ticket. All the other Democrats have some warts and some liabilities. She could really be the person that brings Clinton to California with gusto. She's the person that can bring Obama to California with gusto, and the results will be the Democratic ticket would win.
we'll see what happens. We're out of time for this episode of the Will and Willie Show.
Okay, I want one prediction out of you. Prop 19, marijuana. Yes or no?
I think it passes.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I say no.
you say no.
The dope
I'm the
dealers,
public defender, so I got to say yes.
the dope dealers are going to win.
Yeah.
If someone,
and the
if
prison
someone
guards,
asked
yeah.
me, would you sign, and I don't smoke, and if someone asked me, would you sign it saying you'd never smoke marijuana as long as you live, as long as it's available for people who have glaucoma, people who are cancer patients, I would gladly sign to make medical marijuana legal. And the rest of us can just not use it any more than we use any
Medical
other thing.
marijuana is already legal and
Almost.
readily available. Oakland is the capital.
Well, that's true. You
As
As
medical
long as a
marijuana.
Democrat is president, it is.
Thank you. The minute they're not,
Yes.
every one of those
That's
sellers are going to be deemed
And
like
forfeiture.
my regular
And
clients.
forfeiture, yeah. Yeah.
Well,
And forfeit everything they've
Yeah.
ever had. Everything they've ever gotten. You know, it's like a sweet reward. There are going to be a lot of guys needing Jeff Adachi's services.
As the public defender, keep you busy.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. It's the Will and Willie pre-election special broadcast. Perhaps we'll do another one. We were live at the Buena Vista Cafe, the original home of the Irish Coffee at Hyde and Beach
now I'll
Streets in
have an
San
Irish
Francisco with Willie Brown and Will Durst, and I'm producer Paul Wells. You can go to green960.com podcasts for the video archives of the Will and Willie Show, including this entire episode. And I want to thank Larry Eschenbacher at Green 960.
He's right there.
Our old
Thank
friend
you, so.
for being through all thick and thin.
You know, I love
And
it.
Mr. Friedman.
I love
And
the
Bob
food at
Freeman
Buena Vista.
and the Buena Vista
And I
Cafe
love
and
the
his
fact
staff.
that you called it episodes. That's
Yes.
like Hawaii 5-0.
Exactly.
Did you see it last night?
No, I didn't.
It was.
And on
pretty
this,
good.
we'll
Well,
say
Yeah, it's
goodbye.
Very hokey.
Well,
Old
obviously.
and timey hokey. Yeah.
Go with the flow. Flowstream.com.